You may have heard about the shocking sex abuse lawsuit being leveled at WWE boss Vince McMahon by a former employee. The scandal couldn't come at a worse time as the WWE signs a massive $5 billion deal with Net.
4 years rumors have circulated about Vince McMahon's dark side, and now the news has intensified as former WWE wrestlers have bravely stepped forward to share disturbing details about his alleged grooming tactics. Stay with us until the end of the video as we reveal all the details about how WWE wrestlers have opened up about the victims Vince McMahon allegedly groomed, including Rita Chatterton and other reported WWE sexual assault victims.
Starts talking about a $500,000 a year contract. Next thing I know, Vince McMahon is unzipping his pants.
In early 1992, a dark cloud settled over the then World Wrestling Federation, or WWF, owned by Titan Sports. This period, dubbed Titan Gate by the wrestling insider publication Pro Wrestling Torch, saw the company grapple with a series of sexual misconduct allegations. These accusations came on the heels of a brewing steroid abuse scandal that threatened to bring down the entire industry. Initially, Vince McMahon appeared to avoid the brunt of the Titan Gate storm, but that changed dramatically in April. Now It Can Be Told, a tabloid news magazine television show hosted and produced by Geraldo Rivera, aired a segment featuring former referee Rita Chatterton. Chatterton made a shocking accusation, alleging that McMahon had raped her in a limousine 6 years earlier, in 1986. She later elaborated on her claims with more details during an appearance on Rivera's widely watched talk show a week later, placing Vince McMahon squarely at the center of the growing scandal.
Forced into oral sex with Vince McMahon. When I couldn't complete his desires, he got really angry, started ripping off my jeans, pulled me on top.
In a harrowing account, Rita Chatterton detailed the alleged assault, claiming that Vince McMahon had lured her into his limousine under the guise of a business meeting. Once inside the vehicle, the situation reportedly turned violent. Chatterton alleged that McMahon overpowered and assaulted her twice before coldly invoking a company rule against fraternization to justify her termination. In a bizarre twist, McMahon retaliated by suing Chatterton, Geraldo Rivera, and the show's associates in February 1993. However, the lawsuit, which curiously focused on civil conspiracy rather than defamation, was ultimately dropped a year later. Afterward, Chatterton remained silent about the incident for nearly 3 decades, leaving the public with only whispers and speculation about the truth behind the shocking allegations. The tide began to turn over 2 decades later, in June 2022, when an exposé on McMahon's alleged sexual misconduct settlements was published. The report included a new interview with Rita Chatterton, the woman who had first accused McMahon of assault in 1992. This time, she wasn't alone. The article introduced Leonard Inzari, also known as Mario Mancini, a former wrestling trainee and friend of Chatterton, who supported her claims and spoke about broader accusations of sexual predation against Vince McMahon. The statement suggested that McMahon may have targeted not only Chatterton but other female wrestlers as well. While the full details of the alleged incidents remain unclear, the revelations reignited public outrage and forced a re-examination of the power dynamics within WWE.
In 2006, WWE superstar Ashley Massaro was allegedly drugged and raped by multiple U.S. servicemen while on a trip to Kuwait.
A damning affidavit, previously unseen by the public, exploded onto the scene in 2023. The document originated from a 2017 lawsuit filed by Ashley Massaro's lawyers against WWE, which primarily focused on the company's handling of concussions. However, a sworn affidavit by Massaro revealed a horrifying additional layer. Massaro, who tragically passed away in 2019, alleged that she was drugged and raped during a 2006 WWE tour in Kuwait. According to her account, the perpetrator posed as a military doctor. Further complicating the story, Massaro claimed that Vince McMahon, upon learning of the incident, urged her to remain silent in order to preserve WWE's relationship with the military. While the affidavit did not initially name McMahon as a direct predator of female wrestlers, her lawyers admitted to omitting that detail because it was not directly relevant to the concussion lawsuit. Still, the implication hung heavy, raising serious questions about McMahon's conduct and the company's alleged culture of silence.
Fans and a community on Long Island are mourning the sudden death of a former star.
Yeah, Ashley Massaro was found dead inside her home in Suffolk County yesterday. She wrestled for WWE for 3 years after winning their Diva Search contest. She was just 39 years old, and police have not yet said.
In a chilling revelation from the unearthed Ashley Massaro affidavit, a broader pattern of alleged misconduct by Vince McMahon emerged. Massaro claimed that after she refused his late-night hotel room invitation, McMahon retaliated by writing promos intended to damage her career. This was not an isolated incident, according to Massaro. She described a hostile work environment fostered by McMahon, filled with vulgar and inappropriate sexual comments whenever they encountered each other. These remarks, she stated, were deliberately made to make her uncomfortable, painting a picture of a power dynamic heavily skewed in McMahon's favor. Although Massaro's claims were not part of the original concussion lawsuit, they added a deeply disturbing dimension to the growing allegations surrounding Vince McMahon and WWE's internal culture. The tragedy of Ashley Massaro's story extends far beyond the horrific assault she described. The 39-year-old wrestler, who competed for WWE from 2005 to 2008, died by suicide in May 2019. Following her death, WWE maintained that neither Vince McMahon nor upper management had ever been informed of the alleged rape by the military imposter. However, a recent twist emerged when Edward Brennan, the lawyer for former WWE executive John Laurinaitis, who is also facing sexual assault allegations, contradicted that claim. Brennan admitted that upper management, including Laurinaitis, was indeed aware of the allegation. Despite this revelation, Laurinaitis insisted that proper protocols were followed and denied any cover-up. Further complicating matters, reports indicated that the Naval Criminal Investigative Service launched an investigation into Massaro's claim in June 2019, shortly after her death. The investigation was closed in January 2020, but its findings remain sealed in secrecy. In the summer of 2022, an article detailing multiple hush-money settlements McMahon had allegedly made with women accusing him of sexual misconduct reignited public outrage. The mounting pressure, fueled by a scandal far larger than any individual case, culminated in McMahon's dramatic resignation on July 22, 2022, from all WWE leadership positions. Yet his absence was temporary. By January 6, 2023, McMahon had maneuvered his way back onto the WWE board, eventually reclaiming power as executive chairman of both WWE and the newly merged TKO Group Holdings, a union that also included the UFC. This return to power was short-lived. On January 25, 2024, the scandal resurfaced when Janelle Grant, a former WWE employee previously referred to under a pseudonym, filed a civil lawsuit against Vince McMahon, John Laurinaitis, and WWE. The 67-page complaint leveled severe accusations of physical and emotional abuse, sexual assault, and trafficking. According to the lawsuit, McMahon targeted Grant in March 2019, when she was in a period of emotional and financial vulnerability. He allegedly exploited her job search desperation, initially befriending her before crossing professional boundaries and pressuring her into a sexual relationship as a condition of employment with WWE. Although Grant eventually secured a position in WWE's legal department in June 2019, the abuse allegedly continued. Less than a year later, McMahon reportedly weaponized her privacy by sharing explicit photos and videos of her with influential figures inside and outside WWE, including Brock Lesnar, who McMahon was courting for a new contract. The lawsuit further claimed that McMahon cultivated a culture of fear, warning Grant that he had top-tier legal teams ready to destroy anyone who caused him problems. These accusations, combined with investigative reporting from the Wall Street Journal, ultimately forced McMahon's permanent resignation from WWE. Grant's lawsuit painted a horrifying picture of a deeply exploitative power dynamic. The document alleged that McMahon used his authority to coerce her into sexual acts, sometimes involving other individuals, including John Laurinaitis. It described how McMahon expected sexual activity during work hours, even at WWE headquarters, and directed Grant to visit Laurinaitis for encounters before the workday began. The lawsuit went beyond sexual harassment, depicting a campaign of psychological domination. Grant alleged that McMahon systematically isolated her, eroding her personal relationships and self-identity to make her subservient to his control. The complaint described extreme emotional and physical abuse that forced her to mentally disassociate to survive. Text message screenshots included in the lawsuit allegedly revealed McMahon's disturbing sexual demands. The most shocking claim involved an alleged assault in June 2021, in which McMahon and Laurinaitis allegedly sexually assaulted Grant in Laurinaitis' office while other employees worked nearby. According to the lawsuit, Grant's eventual dismissal from WWE in January 2022 stemmed from Linda McMahon discovering the affair. Following this discovery, Vince McMahon allegedly pressured Grant into signing a non-disclosure agreement in exchange for a $3 million payout. However, after receiving only the first $1 million installment, the payments abruptly stopped. Feeling betrayed and still enduring emotional trauma, Grant decided to come forward. Her January 2024 lawsuit sought both financial compensation and public accountability for the years of alleged abuse. But her case was not an isolated one. Other revelations have since emerged, suggesting a broader pattern of sexual misconduct and abuse of power surrounding Vince McMahon and WWE's inner circle.